You're watching Lake Votes 2012. We are here today with Representative Christina Hagan running for re-election of the 50th District State Representatives. Hello, Ms. Hagan.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. What are you doing to stay in touch with your home district while you're away at work?
Well, I'm very active with my constituents. As you know, being a member of the youth, we have Facebook, we have email, we have every way to technologically stay connected. But also when I'm in district, I'm making sure to go door to door and have regular office hours, so the folks that may not feel comfortable driving to Columbus are always able to access me locally. Try to attend town hall meetings and do things in the community where I know folks are, such as football games, and just really being active and being available is something that I focus a lot on because I know this job is strongly about communication.
Okay. Medicaid takes up the largest amount of the state's budget. Explain your views on this.
Well, I would suggest that Medicaid takes up the strongest portion of the budget due to some of the decisions that we've made in past years and doubling our numbers in connection with the federal government. So personally, I believe that this is something that we need to rein in and we need to streamline and make sure that we are providing the best services to those who are in the most need and making sure that the folks that are receiving Medicaid are those who are actually in the true need bracket versus having a lot of folks weighing down the system and not providing the best service to the taxpayer or to the person receiving the service. So I think that being the largest portion of our budget is certainly something we need to focus on. However, we've been very blessed in the state of Ohio to streamline government in the past 2 years and reduce our deficit and have a balanced budget despite of the 40% that we have in Medicaid. So I think that Medicaid is a large issue we need to look at in the future, but right now it's something that is at a place where it's federally mandated to us, so we need to work on a relationship with the federal government in order to get that to a lower percentage of our budget.
Okay. Do you have a plan to increase jobs in Ohio? If so, what is it?
Absolutely. I believe the best plan to increase jobs in the state of Ohio is for government to stay out of the way. In the last 18 or 19 months that I've been in office, we went from 11.2 unemployment percentage to 7.2% unemployment in August. So we've worked very hard to streamline government and step aside so that the private sector can do what it does best, and that's create jobs. We've reduced taxation, we've eliminated taxes, we've eliminated the estate tax and reduced the income tax in the state of Ohio, and we've seen a lot of growth in business, and I think that that could be attributed to the ways that we are working with business instead of working against business to ensure that we have good, strong job creation in the state of Ohio. I would also suggest that we need to ensure that we are properly equipping our youth with programs like this, where you're being prepared for actual jobs that are available in our market in Ohio, so better seamlessly transitioning our youth into jobs that are available in the state of Ohio. Right now we have 70,000 jobs unfilled, and so a passion of mine is to make sure that youth has opportunities to be more well-rounded so that folks do not think that taking on debt and having a college education is the only answer. There are other forms of education, and we happen to be very blessed in the manufacturing industry. So I think skilled trades are something that we've kind of frowned upon for years that need to be reconsidered and need to be focused on because we're very blessed in the state as a manufacturing state. So I have personally worked on legislation to improve the job scenario in the state of Ohio and had bipartisan support on both of those pieces of legislation. I'll continue to do those things if I'm reelected.
Okay. Ohio has to have a balanced budget. What are your views on this budget process?
I believe that is the only type of budget to have. Fortunately, we now have a balanced budget. When we stepped into office, we had the $8 billion deficit, and we had 89 cents in a rainy day fund. And I've said this jokingly, although it's not very funny, 89 cents is not enough for a college student to buy a pack of ramen noodles. And that's what our former administration was running our government on. So I would suggest that the state's constitution has a good circumstance where we have to have a balanced budget. I would say that we should push for that federally because for our generation, sustainability is key to the success of America. So absolutely a balanced budget is the only way to go in the state of Ohio. I'm glad that we work within the parameter of a state that has to have a balanced budget, and that's a part of our Constitution. But I would push further and say that we need to push for those norms at the federal level in order for our generation to be able to compete with the rest of the globe.
Okay. Do you support amending the Constitution to prohibit the legalization of gay marriage?
I do not, and I will say that it's because I do not believe in amending the Constitution. I think that this is something that we have been elected to do. We've been elected to represent the values in our communities. And if we are not responsive to those needs, and we are trying to amend the Constitution to prohibit a problem that might occur in the future, then we're not really doing what we are elected to do. We need to face the problems we have today. And as we move into the future, if the values of the community change from what the values are now, and there is a push on that that topic, then that is the responsiveness of the representatives. Their job should not be prohibited from being done because the Constitution was amended. And on a personal note, I believe that marriage is to be between a man, a woman, and God, and that is the design of marriage. That is what marriage means. It is a union between a man, a woman, and God. However, there are many people with differing opinions on this issue. And in my district, I typically represent folks who have the same beliefs, but there are some who disagree. And I think that it's important that both sides are active and constantly debating this issue to keep Ohio truest to representing what its constituency believes. Okay.
You already touched on this a little bit, but do you think the legal rights afforded to married couples should be afforded to gay couples?
At this point in time, I do not think that that is the case. I certainly understand why people who have spent a lot of time together and invested time in a relationship together feel as though they should be afforded some of the same legal rights, but I have not had a strong push for that from my constituency, and I think that my job is to communicate the values of my community to the State House, and so that's what I'm doing. Okay.
What do you do with a school that is failing to meet its basic standards? Do you cut funding or increase it? Do you let students leave or force them to stay?
Well, I think that statistics have shown that the dollar amounts that are put in the classroom very seldom correlate with the success of the classroom. And so I would suggest that increasing funding to a circumstance that is already failing is not the answer. And I would also suggest that it's not as cookie cutter easy answer to say decreasing funding would be the right answer either. I think that every situation is unique, but every student deserves good opportunities. And so I would suggest that in the case of a failing school, that we should be looking at that school one-on-one from the State Board of Education and finding the ailments in that school district and making sure we're improving the processes to provide a better product to students.
Okay. So what happens to those who are left in a failing school?
Those who are left in a failing school, through the years, there have been quality education opportunities that have been increased in the state of Ohio. I think that we need to continue to provide a well-rounded portfolio for students to choose from. As the school funding that is provided per pupil, per child, that child should have the right or the choice to participate in the education of their choice or their family's choice. And so I would suggest if a student is in a failing circumstance and there's no way for them to get out, we need to work on ways in either A, improving the school system that they're within, or B, providing opportunities for them to seek out a quality education, whether that be through a voucher or going to a charter school or doing an online schooling, which would improve and demand self-discipline from that student. But every student's different, so I think that we need to provide a wealth of opportunities to our students and to our future.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Hagan.
It's nice meeting you. Thank you.
Nice meeting you. I am Blake Beatty, and you're watching Lake Television.